in Osun State emphasized the need to uncover the true circumstances surrounding Emmanuel's untimely death. Though-provoking Emmanuel, a postgraduate student in the Faculty of Medicine in the Philippines, was killed on October 2023 in Manduel City, with the Philippines National Police promptly charging 6 Chinese nationals for alleged complicity in the death of the promising Nigerian. At number 2, Nigerian has been selected by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and the Arab League to be part of a special delegation tasked with initiating immediate international action to bring an end to the ongoing conflict in Gaza. The announcement was made by the Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar in a statement released on Tuesday. The Royal Embassy of Saudi Arabia in Nigeria officially communicated the selection of Nigeria as part of this special delegation on Tuesday in Abuja. Minister Yusuf Tugar revealed that the decision was a direct response to the resolution adopted during the Joint Arab-Islamic Extraordinary Summit held in Riyadh on Saturday. At number 3, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has categorically refuted reports alleging tampering with accredited voter figures in the recently concluded Kogi State governorship election. In a statement released by its National Commissioner and member of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Haruna, Tuesday, the Commission dismissed this claim as unfounded. The statement by INEC addressed media reports suggesting that the Commission manipulated the accredited figures of voters in the Kogi governorship election results uploaded on the INEC Results Viewing portal. According to Haruna, these reports lack merit and the Commission maintains the integrity of its electoral processes. At number 4, an 11-year-old boy named Nelson George has taken legal action against Limi Children's Hospital Limited, filing a 100 million naira lawsuit over alleged misdiagnosis and mistreatment that resulted in the damage to one of his testes. Nelson, represented by his father, Bankole George, initiated the lawsuit before Justice Akambi Yusuf on the FCT High Court in Kubwa. The young plaintiff is also seeking an order for the hospital to pay 5 million naira as the cost of filing the suit. Additionally, he is requesting the court to compel the medical facility to issue a formal letter of apology for the purported misconduct. At number 5, 7 Super Falcons players, including goalkeeper Chiamaka Inadozie, were yesterday listed for 2023 Women's Player of the Year awards by the Confederation of African Football. Inadozie, who plays for Paris FC and trailed football fans globally with her performance at the FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, was nominated in both the Player of the Year award and Goalkeeper of the Year award categories. Also listed for the Player of the Year award are Super Falcons and Barcelona feminine striker Azizat Oshoala, Christy Ochebe of Benfica, Osinachi Ohale of Alves Pachuca, Rashidat Ajibade Atletico Madrid, Tony Payne, Sevilla, and Uchenna Kanu Tigres, Racing Louisville. That's all for now. See you next time on What's Happening.
Who boast and predict the outcome of the Court of Appeal judgment even before the pronouncement. This is especially so when the member representing Panshin Kanke Kanam Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, and member representing Wase Federal Constituency, Honorable Ahmed Idris Wase, openly boasted that the APC has enough control over the judiciary to remove the PDP governor in Plateau State, His Excellency Caleb Mutfwang, and replace with the APC candidate Dr. Nenta Waitwilder. The judiciary did not reprimand either of them, which further validated the assertion that the judiciary has sold out. This is unacceptable and indicates that the justice regime in Nigeria has been thrown to the dogs. What happened in Plateau State is an aberration of immeasurable proportion. There is a decision between a pre-election matter and a post-election matter. The Supreme Court has established this fact on several occasions. It is now a wonder why the appeal court would act otherwise and in a despicable manner that tends to truncate our nascent democracy. The Coalition for Truth and Justice in Africa entirely condemned the action of the justices to the appeal court that sat in Abuja. They displayed insensitivity to the electoral choices of the people. This is worrisome. This is a worrisome trend that the Chief Justice of Nigeria must address. This is on the heels that the judiciary the world over is regarded as the last hope of the commoner. This presupposes that it is the only place the commoner can get justice. The function of the judiciary is not to twist the truth or fabricate facts, but to interpret the law. The consequence of the interpretation of the law is justice. However, what played out in Plateau State negates the judiciary's position as the common man's last hope. The judiciary is for sale to the highest bidder in Nigeria if such position could be taken without recourse to the implication of such on the psychological state of the people. The Coalition for Truth and Justice in Africa is using this protest to drive the point that justice in Nigeria should not be reserved for a section of the country or any political party. What happened in Plateau State should not be allowed to stand or repeat itself. The implication of such is that the reputation of the judicial arm of government would be eroded. The decision of the justices of the appeal court in Plateau State is a miscarriage of justice. It was a kangaroo ruling that reminds us of the military era. The Coalition for Truth and Justice in Africa frowns at such a gross display of insensitivity to the electorate in Plateau State. Illicit interference with justice can also be violent, particularly when perpetrated directly by members of organized crime. These forays are intended to secure specific objectives, such as closing a particular case or acquitting a given individual. Integrity, independence, and impartiality are prerequisites for establishing a practical and functional judiciary and judicial system to resolve legal disputes peacefully. Installing an independent and effective justice system that safeguards human rights, facilitates access to all, and provides transparent and objective recourse is a worldwide core value. We demand this from the Nigerian judiciary today. Hence, this protest to the Chief Justice of Nigeria to investigate the abracadabra that happened in Plateau State.
So like you said, there's become a trend where incoming governments, federal and state levels, claim that the treasuries inherited are empty. But unfortunately, the way they now spend, doesn't lend credence to their claim that treasury is empty.
From traditional political practices, the public's demand for accountability is a clear indication of the growing awareness and desire for transparency in governance. As the nation grapples with economic challenges, it is imperative for all stakeholders to play an active role in holding the government accountable for its financial decisions and expenditures. National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu has recently revealed that the current economic challenges are a direct consequence of an empty treasury inherited by the President Bola Tinubu administration. However, questions have been raised about the government's spending priorities in the face of the financial strain.
So that's a problem. So we have seen, for example, they say the treasury is empty, and yet we are seeing a supplementary budget and line items, for example, such as new cars for an unconstitutional office of the First Lady, fleet of cars. We are seeing payments for a presidential yacht, which they say is not a yacht or a naval ship, of which that we have not been told. And then you now begin to wonder if they're just playing politics. It's just been playing politics by claiming, this really trying to paint previous administrations are being worse off. The more important thing is also the lack of openness or transparency around how our public finances are managed. If we had that kind of line of sight and that openness, we're able to see and believe, whether those claims are true. But then even beyond that, how you carry on spending after you've inherited a treasury that you say is empty, will be the biggest proof of whether you're seeing the truth or not. I can't meet you and tell you, I don't have any money, and then I'm now spending like a drunken sailor. That's very, very important to keep in mind. So it should reflect in how you do your spending, not just the amount you spend, but the things you consider as priority.
In an emerging pattern, administrations often attribute economic challenges to their predecessors, alleging misappropriation of state or national funds. The crux of the issue lies in guaranteeing transparency in the utilization of the national budget and revenue. There is an escalating demand for influential individuals, corporations, and religious organizations to actively advocate for accountability from the government, marking a departure from conventional political practices. Prominent civil society organization Yaga Africa has expressed concern over the declining quality of elections in Nigeria, stating that Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) missed an opportunity to rebuild citizens' trust during the just concluded off-cycle elections. In a recent press conference, the executive director Yaga Africa, Samson Itodo, said the off-cycle elections were meant to assess the commitment of key democratic institutions to restoring public confidence. That was not the case in the just concluded polls in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa states. Commenting on voter turnout pattern, Senior Communications Officer at Yaga Africa, Mark Amaza, observed that nothing has changed from the February 2023 polls to the just concluded off-cycle elections. If anything, he said, Kogi witnessed more youthful voter turnout than in February. But how did that make a difference in the electoral process?
Regarding voter turnout, for those off-cycle elections, observation, we deploy what's called a process and results verification for transparency. Is a mouthful, PRVT methodology. So basically, it looks at the processes from the rural area, from the polling units, I beg your pardon, from the polling units, the whole processes, collation to the final results, to able to verify that the results, the process meets the required standards and the results are verifiable. But we only deployed that in Imo and Kogi. We didn't deploy that methodology in Bayelsa. So we can't speak as to voter turnout in Bayelsa. And as we put out in our final report, final statement is we're able to verify, use the PRVT data to verify the Imo elections, which is one of the reasons we called on INEC to also audit the election results. But for Kogi, we saw a INEC's official voter turnout is 40%, or was 40%. And that falls within the range we expected, between 36 to 43% was the range we expected, which is, it's higher than what we got in presidential elections. On a national scale presidential elections, we had a 26% voter turnout. Disaggregating voter turnout by age, we haven't done that yet for these off-cycle elections. But we saw in 2019, for example, about 36% of young people turn out to vote. Which is disappointing considering young people make up almost half the voter population. So there's a lot of drop-off regarding young people coming out to vote. But even at that, we still see a lot more drop-off with urban youth than with rural youth. Of course, there are many other reasons for that. Some people will say it's also due to a feeling of insecurity around elections. No one wants to be a casualty, but it's also a lot of times is a feeling of also distrust of what was the point of voting? Will my votes count? And if they count, will the person deliver good governance? So, there's this assumption that's often made that if we don't involve ourselves in politics, it will leave us alone. But sadly, that's not true, because whether you involve yourself or not, politics will affect your life. It shapes your life.
Amaza pointed out that calls for the removal of INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu by many Nigerians would be ineffective unless there are reforms in the appointment process for the INEC chairman.
For me, it's less about whether he's retained or he's fired. It's also about how will the next one be appointed. One huge loophole we have is the person who has the powers to appoint the chair of INEC, the national commissioners, and the resident electoral commissioners is someone who is also an interested party in elections, or who belongs to a political party as interested in elections. And that's, for me, a huge, and not just for me, for our organization. And not just for our organization, as far back as 2008, if you recall, late President Umaru Yar'Adua admitted that the election that brought him to power was flawed. A stupid committee that was headed by the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Muhammadu Uwais, to look and propose reforms to our electoral system. one of the reforms they made was that a power of appointment or nomination should be taken away from the president and given to an independent body. As we are speaking, that hasn't been done. We understand it's a constitutional amendment, but that hasn't been done. And that's something that needs to be done, because you constantly have where the person, he who pays the piper, dictates the tune, but you have the situation, and it is not about casting aspersions on the person of the INEC chair, but you have in the last two nominations to the INEC, you had persons who were partisan that were nominated and who ended up being in commission. In fact, last three nominations, the third before last nomination, the nominee or nomination wasn't confirmed by the Senate, even though the Senate claimed that the nomination was because the lady that was nominated was already had someone from her state serving, so for federal character reasons. But we also raised the alarm that she was partisan. We had her last year too, nominees for resident electoral commissioners. We had some that were also partisan. They scaled through, and we saw how a couple of them ended up becoming problematic in the way they administered elections in Sokoto and Adamawa State. And last month again, new nominees were confirmed, at least 3 were partisan. We raised the alarm around that. Those are the issues, those are the kind of concerns we have. So it's less about whether he is retained or he's fired. After he only has 1 more year on his tenure, but from next year, when the vacancy for INEC chair opens up, are we still going to be looking? We're still going to be looking to the president, who is a politician belonging to a political party, who will be running in every election to still appoint his replacement, and that's where the challenge is.
From my point of view, as far as I'm concerned, diabetes is a consequence of choices. I've not heard anywhere that diabetes is hereditary.
Sadly, Albert, while not all cases of diabetes have a direct hereditary component, research strongly supports the notion that genetics play a significant role in the development of certain types of diabetes. People with a family history of type 2 diabetes are more likely to develop the condition. Diabetes is not just a disease. It is a leading cause of blindness, kidney failure, heart attacks, stroke, and lower limb amputation. Veteran Nollywood actor John Ikechukwu Okafor, better known as Mr. Ibu, was diagnosed with diabetes and kidney failure in 2022, and he had to undergo some life-saving surgery. Fast forward to 2023, barely 2 weeks ago, despite efforts to prevent it and generous donations from well-meaning Nigerians, one of his legs had to be amputated to save his life. Not everyone with diabetes will need an amputation. If a person with diabetes does need a procedure, it is likely to be due to a wound or ulcer on the foot or lower leg that did not heal. We spoke with individuals from different walks of life to hear their personal experiences with diabetes and how it has affected their lives or the lives of their loved ones.
So I'm not diabetic. My husband got diagnosed sometime in 2015, I think. And it's been a big struggle, to be honest. A struggle for him, a struggle for me as well. Because when your spouse is diabetic, your lifestyle has to change for both of you to encourage your partner as well. And it has been really difficult. So due to this diagnosis, his BP also took a leap, and he's been managing his blood pressure since then. So the challenge, of course, was, getting him to eat diabetic-friendly foods. And I tried to change everything in the house, change our diet, to fit mostly, so that he doesn't feel alone in the journey. So I read about everything, got advice from everyone, from doctors, make sure I follow him for his doctor appointments, which he hates because it makes him feel like I'm babying him. But oh my God, sometimes you just have stubborn spouses. Like for a while, he treated the diagnosis like it didn't exist.
There was a strong history of diabetes in my family. So I had seen how my mom was managing it. I'd seen how my sister was managing it. So when I got the diagnosis, I just cried out to them that, look, this is it. And they were like, okay, this is what you can do. This is what you can do. Now I went for a second opinion, hoping that where I got diagnosed, they were just telling stories. I went for a second opinion, and in fact, that they were more thorough in with their tests, and I had to now, try to bring down my blood sugar level quickly because it was very high. We didn't even know. The doctor was like, they're still surprised I'm still standing, that I could have actually collapsed with the type of figures they were getting from the reading of my blood sugar. However, I now had to see a dietitian who now gave me one what do you call it now, schedule, food timetable, kind of, and with the kind of menus I could eat, what I shouldn't, and then telling me what I shouldn't eat, what quantities I should take, and all that.
Actually, I think for back 2016, I took care of my late cousin. He suffered from diabetes too. So what actually happened was that I was the one taking him up as I'm from home, hospital, this and that. So unfortunately he died 2017. In short, from there, I have to like put more interest. I have to like put more effort to know more about diabetes and to know like what really is diabetic and how to like go about it and how to. And I think since from then, I've been very, very cautious about things I eat and like, and so on, so that.
Ìtọ̀ ṣúgà ni àìsàn kan tí ó jẹ́ wípé kò ní cure, tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé ẹni tí irú ẹ̀ bá ṣẹlẹ̀ sí, wọ́n ní wọ́n máa ń manage ẹ̀ ní. Ohun kan tá ń jẹ sẹ́nu wa, especially èyí tó bá ti ní too much of sugar, starch. Nígbà tí èèyàn jẹ swallow tán, ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní gbé beer, any beer àtọ̀, ó gbélé lórí. Definitely kólúwẹ̀ wọ́n máa expect diabetes at the end of the day ni.
My name is Adrian. About 2 years ago, I went for a diabetic blood test, and it was revealed that my blood sugar count was actually high. I was then advised, to change my eating habit, to change my diet. I stuck to the advice for about a year, and I went back the following year to do another blood count, and I was actually surprised and pleased to say that my blood level was actually lower than what it was the previous year. Before I went for the test, I actually suffered the symptoms of pre-diabetes, and that is constant thirst, always wanting to go to the toilet all the time, always craving sugary stuff. And because the first blood test I did revealed that my blood sugar level was high.
It's a disease that can come from high level of sugar, and it can be hereditary. Yeah, and it doesn't have a cure, but it can be reduced. Yes, I know about 3 or 4 people whom at some point they had like a wound on their legs, and it was not healing at all.
People that have, it will link, most of the time, it will cause hypertension, it will lead swelling of the body, and it will cause them weakness of the body as well. Most of the time, you see a diabetic patient, they'll find it difficult when they have little wound in their body. They find it difficult for the body to be healed easily. Yeah, some time ago, I lost a friend. He's a friend and he's a lecturer. The man that taught me in Genesis 101. The man is very good in English. Very, very good. Genesis 101. He's my church member, and he's a person that I love him. but God took him away because of a diabetes. He died as a result of diabetes sickness.
1 in 10 adults worldwide have diabetes, and over 90% have type 2 diabetes. Close to half are not yet diagnosed. In many cases, type 2 diabetes and its complications can be delayed or prevented by adopting and maintaining healthy habits. It is crucial to emphasize that diabetes can be managed and its complications can be avoided or delayed through proper treatments and regular screenings, diet, physical activity, medication, and timely medical interventions, and lots of awareness campaigns.
But I am concerned first about the way police manage protest. I fought it when I was in the NLC. I was dragged on the floor of, on the tarmac of the Nnamdi Azikiwe airport because we had issued a notice to go on strike. And I was brutalized. I think it is legitimate for us as senators and in this Senate to condemn without any reservation acts of brutality against Protestants, including the President of the Nigeria Labour Congress.
Very distinguished colleagues, consistent with the customs and traditions of this hallowed chamber, as eminently and unequivocally reiterated by ranking distinguished Senator Ningi, I stand to move that the Senate consider the need for the Nigerian Labour Congress and associated labor unions to reconsider its current stand on the ongoing industrial action.
That we urge the Nigerian Labour Congress, the TUC, as well as all protesting unions to immediately call a stop to the ongoing strike in the national interest. Those in support of prayer one say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Mandate the Senate President and the Senate leadership to immediately summon a meeting with the protesting union leaders with a view to resolving the issues amicably. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Today's bill essentially aims to upgrade an existing federal technical college to a fully fledged Federal College of Aviation Technology in order to provide full-time courses in various specializations in the aviation industry and to make provision for the general administration of the college and for related matters. While Nigeria has made significant efforts in aviation technology, there are still challenges to address. These include the need for continued investment in infrastructure development, the enhancement of safety and security measures, and the promotion of research and innovation in aviation technology.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Aviation Technology, Ilara Remo, Ogun State, and for related matters 2023. Second reading taken. Distinguished colleagues, this bill is now referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions, Tertiary Education and Institutions, Step 4.
It really has nothing to do with me and where I work, but still, see people sitting there at home, not going to work because of the strike, I don't think it makes a sense. I just think they should reach an agreement as soon as possible. Maybe they should sit and talk. They should finalize this thing once and for all so that people can go back to their duty at the right time, honestly. Because looking at it, a lot of Nigerians are suffering. Look, let's talk about the fuel now. The fuel now is on the high side. Some vehicles, some people can't walk even to feed themselves because the strike is coming at the right time in Nigeria. Even with the difficulties that we are facing right now, the least we need now is a strike, and I don't think we need it at all. So that's my opinion. Thank you. Thank you.
Look at the timing for me, they should have done this earlier before now. For me, the moment when they removed the subsidy, for me that is when they should have gone on strike. Whole government to their ways, like, okay, you shouldn't have done this, you should have put in palliative in place before you remove subsidy, stuff like that.
Impact is on both sides. The impact of the TUC and NUC strike is both on the part of the government and that of the citizenry. Why? The government too is, the strike is actually showcasing the inefficiency of the government in doing what it ought to do to keep the economy growing. And for any loss so occasioned as a result of the strike, is going to be at the expense of the government, because it's going to portray the government in a very bad light. So the government really needs to live up to expectation, work with the real sectors, know what the sectors, talking about the labor sector, know what they actually require.
If they like, let them continue. If they like, but what I feel is they are fighting for their rights, but it seems most of their number ones, most of their top people are the one enjoying. So they only push them, one will start strike today. When they get something, them they will go back. They will leave those people, and I think they are getting themselves too now. So when they push them, oh yeah, let's start strike, and they see that their boss, they've gone back, withdraw from them too withdraw. That's why you see they will say they want to do today, tomorrow they will stop. Today they want to do because everybody is knowing where he belongs to now. So if they really want to do the strike, they will make up their, but like me now, we are self-employed. That's why that we are graduates, like me. But after service there was nothing. So, and I've been hustling since then. So if they like, let them strike. If they like, let them not strike. I'm less concerned about that.
We're exhausted. So my thought precisely, why are they calling off? Why all of a sudden just the strike started? We're Nigerians. Me, I'm a business guy. I have a brand on my own, so it's not affecting me really. But for the fact that I studied and I'm still seeking for a job, you understand, it's really affecting us in one way or the other. You understand? Why is it that when they increase the fuel, they don't even talk about it? Why now? Is it because they are boss? How many lives over just one life? What are they trying to prove? I just don't know what they are trying to prove. They prefer one life over a million lives or what? So what's the point there? There's no point. So we are sick and tired of all this shit.
Tends to work in insensitivity. It will never make a headway. I think the government really, the present government, really need to learn from the past of Goodluck Jonathan. What made Jonathan excel during his tenure was the fact that he worked with the technocrats. Yes, Jonathan was not just about acquiring, government for the fun of it, but he has to sit back and get the people that really know what to do and put them in the proper positions to steer the economy. And that was what made Nigeria the most buoyant economy during the regime of Goodluck Jonathan. So it's quite much expected that Tinubu too, government should be able to reflect on the good past of Jonathan so as to, make a headway in its administration.
Most of the top people that are supposed to lead the idea, okay, this is what we want to, they only start it. This is what we want. And it seems as if the people who are power to know the people to hold. So when they introduce this is what we want, we will start strike. The moment they settle those top people, they will withdraw and leave the messes to start doing strike. And it seems, I even like the idea now. People are getting themselves. Nobody can push anybody to go and start doing one mad thing now. You can't push me to go and start fighting anywhere. I'm not mad now. So that is exactly what is happening. So this is not actually, this is not the real time they are supposed. People were expecting right from time that since that time but people are understanding. The impression they gave most people, like the impression I had was after this increment of fuel, according to them, they said they removed fuel subsidy. They will still, and they promised them that everything will still come back. They will still regulate it. We'll see. And me, I still have. That's why I'm self-employed. I still have at the back of my mind that everything is coming back to be all right. All we just need to do is exercise patience and.
And in fact, we are not happy about that. He shouldn't say that by now. Because if you want to say something, say it when the person that was responsible is still there and you can lay hands on him. But now, if you are saying that Buhari didn't do well or he did this, he ate all the money, you say it very late. You were there and you didn't say anything. Now you are coming to say for what? For me, it is not right.
Okay, to me, I think now they are facing economic situation and they are looking for who to lay blames on. So they have to blame the former regime, and that's why they are blaming Buhari. Because to me, Buhari's economy was far better than Aswaju's regime. So I don't go with what he says, especially saying it now that people are going through a lot. He says a lot. The memorandum of understanding that came was that they will do better than Buhari. They will help the common masses, especially the Agbado word. Then they said it's for the people, that they will be able to afford their life and live better. But now everything is increasing, and instead of coming out and accepting that they've not done their assignment well, they are trying to blame Buhari for it.
Buhari not leaving money at the treasury should not be an issue of concern for now, because the man Tinubu was not promised money before he stepped into power, or was not expecting money to be stored there. So for him to step into power, it means he has planned to generate the nation economy to a state that it will be effective enough to combat the citizens' immediate needs. So Tinubu, Buhari not keeping money in the federational account should not be an issue to the present ruling party. After all, we are talking about APC and APC. So for him to contest and for our able president to come into power, it means he's already prepared to face the already existing problem and has solution to it. So telling me all of this does not make any sense.
We are going through a lot right now in Nigeria, so this is not the right time. First of all, we have to do this fuel subsidy of 18 before talking about all this kind of thing, because currently now in Nigeria we are suffering. You understand? So we have to first of all attend to all this kind of thing. Just imagine dollar rates now, all this kind of stuff. So that's what we have to attend to before that aspect. That's
South Africa, we have accordingly, together with many other countries in the world, saw fit to refer this whole Israeli government action to the International Criminal Court. We have put through a referral because we believe that war crimes are being committed there. And of course, we do not condone the actions that were taken by Hamas earlier, but similarly, we condemn the actions that are now currently underway and believe that they warrant
Join other heads of state and government in Guinea-Bissau on Thursday to celebrate the country's 50th independence anniversary and Armed Forces Day. Presidential spokesperson Chief Ajuri Ngalale disclosed this in a statement on Wednesday. Ngalale said Tinubu will arrive in Bissau on Thursday for the ceremony, which will be hosted by President Umaru Sissoco Embalo. Guinea-Bissau marked its 50th independence anniversary on September 24, 2023. But the government had scheduled all celebrations for November 16, 2023. At number 2, the data manager of Federal Ministry of Women of Affairs, Sunday Agbakaba, stated that Nigeria recorded 27,698 cases of sexual and gender-based violence between 2020 and 2023. Agbakaba said this during the trainers workshop on the use of the GBV dashboard and reportage on Tuesday in Umuahia, Abia State capital. He said the data was obtained since the inception of the GBV national dashboard between 2020 and October 2023. Breaking down the figures, Agbakaba said the ministry recorded 1,145 fatal GBV cases, while 393 perpetrators were convicted within the period under review. At number 3, the National Security Advisor NSA Nuhu Ribadu on Wednesday said investigation has commenced into an assault on the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, Joe Ajaero. The NSA also said some suspects have been arrested in connection to the incident in Owerri, the Imo State capital, on November 1st, 2023. In a statement signed by the head of strategic communication in the NSA office, Zachary Mejinyawa, Ribadu regrets the incident on Ajaero and condemned it in its entirety as it was against the rule of law and the principles of freedom of association and expression subscribed to by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his administration. At number 4, Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security Aliyu Abdullahi says climate change is posing a great threat to the nation's food security. The minister spoke during the joint annual meeting and conference of the Animal Science Association of Nigeria, ASAN, and the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science, NIS, held in Abuja. He said the country is haunted by desert encroachment and the north rising tide of coastal flooding and erosion in the south. Abdullahi said the country must raise its level of preparedness by putting in place policies and strategies that support climate-smart agriculture. At number 5, former Vice President and presidential candidate of the People Democratic Party, PDP, in the 2023 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar has called for a coalition of opposition parties against the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC. Atiku made the call in Abuja on Tuesday when he hosted the National Executive Committee of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, led by its national president, Yagbagi Sani. Atiku described what he described as a gradual slide of Nigeria into one-party state, said the opposition parties need to come together to challenge the ruling APC to save Nigerians' democracy. At number 6, the Permanent Secretary, Kaduna State Ministry of Health, Dr. Aisha Sadiq, has said that Kaduna is committed to financing family planning to achieve the federal government's 27% modern contraceptive prevalence rate among women of reproductive age by 2024. Dr. Sadiq disclosed this yesterday in Kaduna during a Project Mid-Dissemination meeting of the Society for Family Health Adolescent 360 Amplify project in partnership with the Ministry and Primary Healthcare Board, tagged Repositioning Towards Sustainable and Scalable Impact, Empowering Adolescents for a Healthier Future. At number 7, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) says it will launch the electronic dividend portal on November 30th, 2023 to solve issues of unclaimed dividends and identity management. SEC Director General Lamido Yuguda spoke during a training for journalists organized by the Nigerian Capital Market Institute, NCMI, in Lagos. Addressing the issue of unclaimed dividends, the SEC boss said the portal will solve identity management and multiple subscription issues. Yuguda added that the capital market master plan targeted at taking the market to the desired destination by 2025 has been revised. At number 8, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) on Tuesday said it had extended the legal tender status deadline of the old design of 200 naira, 500 naira, and 1000 naira banknotes. In a statement on Tuesday signed by its director, Corporation Communications, Isa Abdul Mumin, the bank said the notes remain legal tender forever. The bank said this is in line with the international best practices and to forestall a repeat of earlier experiences. At number 9, former Super Eagles captain Mikel Obi has accused CAF of denying him the chance of winning the 2013 African Footballer of the Year award. Mikel Obi asserted that he was unjustly overlooked for the prestigious award in 2013 in favor of Ivorian football legend Yaya Toure. The former Chelsea midfielder highlighted his contributions to 3 tournament victories in 2013, including the African Cup of Nations for Nigeria. He contrasted this with Toure's achievements, claiming that the Ivorian captain did not secure any major titles that year. Mikel played a pivotal role in Chelsea's triumph in the UEFA European League and was a key figure in Nigeria's success in AFCON 2013. At number 10, the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, has arrived in San Francisco in the United States of America to attend a summit with President Joe Biden. The summit is also the 30th Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Economic Leaders meeting that started on November 14th and will end on November 17th. In a statement on Wednesday, Chinese ambassador to the U.S., Xi Feng, said that Xi arrived on Tuesday afternoon local time. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening. The Center for Democracy and Development (CDD) Election and Analysis Center has released a comprehensive report detailing the challenges encountered during the recent off-cycle elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. Mufiliat Fijabi, speaking on behalf of the CDD, highlighted the abuse of the power of incumbency as a major concern.
The abuse of incumbency takes any or all of the following forms: unequal access of opposition parties to state electronic media, the deployment of state resources such as official state vehicles and staff for electioneering campaigns, and the mobilization of voting banks by parties in power in the 3 states, and the denial of the display of billboards, the denial of access to campaign facilities and public spaces by opposition parties to convey their messages to the electorate by single authorities. These remain major fetters on the conduct of the 3 off-cycle elections that satisfy the conditions for electoral integrity.
The CDD Election and Analysis Center also pointed out identity politics, vote buying, and disinformation campaigns as key contributors to the challenges faced during the elections. Issues of insecurity further compounded the situation. While acknowledging the efforts of security agencies in maintaining order during the elections, the CDD was critical of the role of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
For example, while the retiring incumbent governor ensured not only that the ruling party nominated a candidate from his ethnic group in the state, the other major parties chose candidates from other ethnic groups, hoping to cash in on the claim that the next governor must come from their own ethnic group. Against this background, the prospects of insecurity were a major source of concern before and during the elections. The elections witnessed the following incidents of violence: A. An alleged ballot snatcher being shot and killed in Dekina, LGA in Kogi State. B. Another person was shot dead in Pangbe community in Yenugua, LGA, Bayelsa. And C. A violent altercation in the collation center in Kogi, where a group of other party agents pounced upon and violently attacked another party agent who was complaining about the conduct of the elections in the state.
The CDD is calling for a thorough review and reform of political parties and urging stakeholders to address the identified challenges.
In adherence to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive to prioritize the nation's internal security, the Ministry of Police Affairs organized a crucial management retreat for its directorate, themed Re-envisioning the Ministry of Police Affairs for Effective Internal Security. Dr. Nasri Sani Gwazo, the permanent secretary of the ministry, underscored the retreat's significance, pointing out that the Nigeria Police Force has not been accorded the highest priority by the federal government.
And the expectations from the general public is so high on the police force. Every single distress, people will complain about police. Yet, that sector, which is so important, I wouldn't say is neglected. It's not receiving the best attention it could. It's not receiving the best funding it could. Even policy-wise, I remember we inherited the Nigeria Police Act of the British government. I'm happy the British High Commission is here. It took us almost 70 years to review it. How many years ago? In 2020, I think. So, it is now time for us to get priority. In my entire sojourn in government, I've not seen a moment that is so critical, so aligning, and so much in tandem with what we want, like the current moment we have. And I will set my reasons. Government has seen the need to prioritize security. Government has seen the need to prioritize coordination between the new security agencies. And government has seen the need to put police in its rightful position.
Addressing the gathering, Dr. Solomon Arase, chairman of the Police Service Commission, emphasized the need for collaborative effort between the two ministries to enhance the efficiency of the Nigeria Police Force. He urged the revisioning process to squarely address challenges and issues affecting the force.
This collaborative division of responsibility not only fosters efficiency of the force, but also upholds the delicate balance between personnel management and administrative oversight. As we attempt to reassess the roles and responsibilities of the ministry within the internal security architecture, it is paramount to recognize that the Nigerian Police Force is fundamental to the ministry as to also the Commission. The principal mandate of both organizations is to ensure the smooth functioning and effectiveness of the Nigerian Police Force. Consequently, the process of revisioning the ministry should focus on strategically repositioning it to adequately address the challenges and issues encountered by the force, while yet adhering to its core mandate. Our commitment, therefore, is to the personnel of Nigerian Police Force who will dedicate their lives to the service of our nation requires us to confront these challenges head on.
Representing the Minister of Police Affairs, Honorable Minister of State Iman Suleiman lamented decade of negligence that has hindered the growth of the Nigeria Police Force. The retreat aimed to chart a course for revitalizing the ministry and strengthening internal security efforts in the nation.
Nigerian Police Force finds itself at a critical junction, currently struggling with the consequence of decades of neglect that have hindered its ability to fulfill its constitutional mandate. The Ministry of Police Affairs has also not been spared. However, given Mr. President's commitment to reforming the Nigerian Police Force, the ministry is now positioned at the forefront of the police transformation agenda, and it must rise to the challenge. The ministry must bear the weighty responsibility of ensuring coordination and creating the enabling framework that would steer the Nigerian Police Force towards improved technical and operational effectiveness. As management staff, we must demonstrate the unwavering commitment to the will required to yield tangible results. The Police Inspectorate Department, in particular, should evolve its operations to focus on the robust monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning. Report must be factual, practical, evidence-based, and serve as critical tools for enhancing police performance.
Hi, welcome to What's Happening. Here are the top 5 stories. At number 1, the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, have jointly decided to suspend the nationwide strike after discussions with the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu. The federal government's commitment to prosecuting individuals arrested in connection with the assaults on NLC President Joe Ajaero led to the decision. The Labour leaders conveyed the outcome of the meeting during an extraordinary joint National Executive Council meeting, emphasizing the government's assurance of legal action against those responsible for the assaults. The suspension of the strike has been met with relief from various quarters. At number 2, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Angiwa, has announced plans to establish a National Land Commission in Nigeria. Speaking at a conference in Lagos, the minister highlighted the need for a complementary institution to the Land Use Act of 1978, addressing the existing gap in providing the necessary framework, guidelines and regulations for effective land administration. The National Land Commission aims to enhance and streamline land administration in the country. At number 3, the ruling All Progressive Congress APC has slammed former Vice President Atiku Abubakar over his call that opposition parties merge to defeat the ruling party in the next presidential election. The APC said Atiku, the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party, in the 2023 presidential election and his party failed at the polls since 2015 and have failed to offer credible opposition to Nigerians. Atiku on Tuesday, when he hosted the National Executive Committee of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, in Abuja, had expressed concerns that Nigeria was moving towards a one-party dictatorship state and called on other opposition parties to come together to defeat the ruling APC. At number 4, the United Nations has urged an independent investigation into the recent mass killing in Burkina Faso, particularly in the town of Zango, where more than 70 people were reportedly killed on November 5th. Burkina Faso State's prosecutor revealed that most of the victims were children and elderly individuals. The UN Rights Office expressed concern, stating that while the authorities confirm at least 70 deaths, some reports suggest the toll could be around 100, with numerous injuries. Burkina Faso is grappling with a jihadist insurgency that has resulted in thousands of deaths and displacements since 2015. At number 5, Jose Peseiro, the coach of the Super Eagles, has expressed confidence in goalkeeper Francis Uzoho as they prepare for the World Cup qualification tie against Lesotho. Uzoho has faced scrutiny for his performance, especially after conceding 2 free-kick goals in a match against Saudi Arabia. Peseiro defended the AC Omonia goalkeeper, stating that he believes Uzoho is the best man for the job. However, he added that if there were a better option, he would consider making a change in the goalkeeper position. The Super Eagles are set to face Lesotho in their upcoming match. That's all for now. See you later on What's Happening. The federal government of Nigeria has announced a series of initiatives to support persons with disabilities. Hi, welcome to What's Happening. These are the top 10 stories. At number 1, the federal government of Nigeria has announced a series of initiatives to support persons with disabilities, PWDs. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Disability Matters, Mohammed Isa, revealed plans to establish disability desks and offices in ministries, departments and agencies to address the needs of PWDs. Additionally, the government aims to formulate inclusive policies, creating an enabling environment for PWDs and engage stakeholders in amending the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018. At number 2, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, along with other top military and police officials, failed to honor an invitation to appear before the House of Representatives during a sectoral debate. The Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, and the Inspector General of Police were invited to discuss their constitutional responsibilities in ensuring the security of lives, property, and the nation's territorial integrity. The officials sent representatives in their stead, but the House rejected them, insisting that the heads of the respective security agencies must appear in person. At number 3, the Lagos State government has reinforced its ban on street begging. specifically emphasizing the prohibition of using babies and children for armed solicitation. The announcement came from the Commissioner for Youth and Social Development, Mobolaji Ogunlende, during an interactive session with stakeholders in Alausa. Despite previous efforts to curb street begging, Ogunlende highlighted a resurgence of the practice in certain areas of Lagos. The commissioner emphasized a zero-tolerance policy for street begging throughout the state, citing its negative impact on the city's image and its potential security threats to investors. At number 4, the Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, has disclosed that Nigerian Customs Service incurred a loss of 1.3 trillion naira due to waivers and concessions granted to investors by the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari this year. Adeniyi made this revelation during a public hearing organized by the Senate Joint Committee on the 2024-2026 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy at the National Assembly Complex in Abuja. In addition to the financial loss, Adeniyi stated that the NCS was not privy to the details of the controversial custom $3.2 billion modernization project, also known as e-customs, which was approved by the Buhari administration in April. Despite a court order restraining the federal government from proceeding with the initiative, the Federal Executive Council endorsed the e-custom project, entrusting its implementation to a concessionaire. At number 5, the Gombe State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, has reported that 3 individuals lost their lives and 22 others sustained injuries during the 2023 flood disaster in the state. According to Abdullahi, the Executive Secretary of SEMA, the disaster also claimed the lives of 7 animals, destroyed 1,838 houses, and affected 257 farmlands between May and October 2023. Abdullahi further explained in an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria in Gombe on Thursday that 8 out of the 11 local government areas in the state experienced the disaster, contrary to the 3 local government areas predicted in the 2023 flood outlook. The worst hit areas were identified as Akko, Funakaye, Balanga, Gombe, Nafada, Katungo, Shongom, and Yelmatu Delba. At number 6, gunmen have reportedly kidnapped Isaac Bature Baja, an assistant manager with the Central Bank of Nigeria in Nasarawa, demanding a 10 million ransom. The incident occurred on Monday, November 13, 2023, with Baja being adopted alongside 2 other unidentified persons around 8 p.m. The abduction took place near MacPherson Royal Suites along Kwandere